Through Inspirations. I am so happy to be back again this week. We are at week 2 with this 30-day journey that we are on together of my healing. If you watched last week, I talked about the accident that I was in on March the 23rd. And you can go back and check that video out. I'm not going to get too much into that. But we are at week 2. So it's 14 days of really a little bit more than that, maybe 15 or 16 days. And my pain level right now is probably about at a 6. I'm walking around a lot better. I'm moving around in my bedroom, as I told you before. Yesterday, like I said, we celebrate the small victories. I was able to go up about 4 stairs, and it was more painful coming down than going up. I believe. It was painful either way, but it wasn't as bad. And so today, if you notice, I'm kind of in a different space. I was able to come down the stairs. Yay! I was able to come down the stairs. My husband, he shadowed me from the front, but I was able to take one step at a time, and I can remember, I have something written, and it may be in my upcoming, but I talk about baby steps and taking baby steps, and in this process, that's what I'm learning that even though my mind is a lot quicker than my body, I still have to take those baby steps and not negate the fact that my body has suffered a lot of trauma. And so, I have to take my time, and it reminds me. So, I'm able to get down the stairs. I have a doctor's appointment, and I have some other doctor's appointments that are coming up. So I'm going to try to make these videos in little small increments, not too long. I'm trying to go no longer than 20 minutes because I know people's time and everything. But like I said, I love my tribe. I love this community, and I so appreciate all of your prayers and your encouraging words. Thank you so much. I'm honored by that because you don't have to do it. I don't take anything for granted. I try to my best ability not to take anything for granted. And anyone who really knows me and are really close to me know that consideration is one of my biggest pet peeves, to be considerate. And so I'm considerate of the fact that one would take the time out of their schedule, out of their day, to send me a text and say, hey sis, just want you to know that I'm praying for you, or to put a post on Facebook. No one has to do that, and when they show that act of kindness, it's just amazing, and I don't take that for granted. So I love you and I appreciate you so much. Last week, what I left off, I'm gonna talk about a couple of things, and we'll see how far we get into it as far as this process. But I talked about how the accident happened on Wednesday, and then that Saturday, several days after, I was using the ladies' room, and I started feeling sick, and I wasn't feeling well, and I wound up passing out. And I had to be transported back to the hospital. They said that it was some type of, it's this long word and something with a nerve, and it can happen because of the just the pain, the amount of pain that I had been in, and even just for my husband to help me to go to the bed, just for me to get out of the bed and to walk a couple of steps to the bathroom. It was just horrible. So my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law was here visiting, and so I wanted to use my bathroom. I did have an accommodation, I'll put it like that, next to my bed, when, alone with my husband and I. But because I had, family guests, I wanted to get up and go. And I think it was because of just the amount of pain that I was in, and using the bathroom. They said that can happen. So I passed out, and I had to be taken in. One of the things I don't even remember, I can remember, what happened was I started feeling sick, so I called my husband. So I was using the bathroom, and I started feeling sick, so I called my husband, asked him to bring it back. I threw up, and when I threw up, that's the last thing that I remember. The one thing that I remember my husband like patting me on my face and calling me, and I could hear him saying, Jesus, 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 Jesus. And so, they called the ambulance, and they came and got me. And they ran some other tests. I was still in a lot of pain. They did my chest and checked, my heart. So because of the events that happened, the course of events that happened, they were signs could be of a heart attack. So quite naturally, they told me that to follow up with my cardiologist. So I followed up with the cardiologist. Thus, they put a heart monitor on me. They have these little fancy ones now. When my husband, when he had to have one, it was like a bag, like you had to carry. It was huge. So, but I had this heart monitor, and if I'm experiencing anything, I can push the button. So I followed up so I do have to go back we have to take this monitor off, I think, in another couple of days. And but I've been resting, and I haven't had any type of episodes or anything. I have had some heart palpitations, but that's I think that's just a result of some anxiety. But overall, I think because I've been resting and not moving too much, it's been good. So I do have to follow up and do some tests, but thanks be to God. Again, I am here and I am alive. One of the ministry assignments for me is to share and with solutions, and this triggers and trauma series that we were on for March and April. And one of the things that the Lord gave me was that we need to transition to transparency. And so at the comfortability that whoever, when you're speaking, because we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. When I share my story, or when I share my testimony, it's encouraging, and it can be an encouragement to someone else. And instead of me holding everything in, and holding it, I need to, release it. There was something that I had written down. I'm gonna try to find it while I'm talking, because I was looking over it, and here it is: triggers and traumas released by truth and transparency. You release the traumas and the triggers and things that have happened to you, triggers that are a result, from the trauma that has happened in your life. When you are able to talk about those things, I believe that there allows for a sense of freedom. It allows you, get it off you. If there's anything, if it's in the dark, that's just where it's going to stay. And that's where the enemy plays. He plays in the playground of your mind, in the dark. And when you're holding things and you're not being honest about, what you're going through, and even, hey, I need you to pray for me. Hey, this is what I'm facing. As a body, that's what we're supposed to do. Love is the principal thing. And so when we're able to do that, I believe that it helps us, it helps us to heal. And this is a part of my healing process. And so solutions where pain and purpose collide, right? The mix. I would never thought that I would be in the center of that. And like I said before, just being in the pain, but understanding that this pain and what I have gone through and what I am processing through right now, I know without a shadow of a doubt that it has a direct effect on my purpose and how it's going to bless someone else. I wrote something down, a quote that I had written down in it, and it simply says, pain has its purpose. We just have to navigate through the pain, push through the pain so we can fulfill our purpose. And so it has a purpose. God knows. He is nothing that I am going through, nothing that I am processing through, nothing that you are going through, nothing that you are processing through catches him by surprise. It's not catching him by surprise. And so what I am going through and growing through, there has been some triggers. There have been some things that have risen, have come up. And, it reminds me of, hearing them talk about the process in gold and how it has to go in and how the impurities, once it goes in a fire, it comes out and those impurities are brushed off of it and it's put back in. Well, I'm not saying that I'm impure, that I have anything impure, but what I'm saying is that this is growing. This is allowing me to grow. And so one of the things that I do want to share is what this has looked like. Like I told you before, spiritually, I'm just, I'm reading. I know that the peace of God, it surpasses all. I have to press into that. Physically, I am processing. I am progressing. That's what I want to say. I am progressing. There is progress every single day. Emotionally, it is, I find myself, honestly speaking, on a roller coaster because of what many of you do not know, that my mother was tragically killed in a car accident. I'll never forget it. December the 11th, 1989. I called her up and sang happy birthday to her. She was planning on coming and visiting. She was living in North Jersey, Central Jersey, and I was here living here. And she was planning on coming and spending some time with her twin and planning on coming to see us. And I had gotten her birthday card, and at the time, my oldest, the first grandson, LaRon, he was a baby at the time, and I went and I got a birthday card from him and got one from me, and I was just so excited. And I was actually going on an interview for a job that day, and I really wanted this job. And I can remember talking to my mother, and she oftentimes would say to me, just pray. And she was telling me to pray, and so I was excited about her coming. And time went on, and there's some other details, and I'm just not going to get into that right now. It would be too long. But waited, and got the phone call that she had passed, and it was on her 38th birthday. And the accident happened on the Parkway on her way here, and she wasn't far. I don't know, she might have been like 30 minutes away. And I can remember just, again, like on the phone, and just falling on my knees and just crying out to God when, hearing that. And taking my, I barely carried LaRon up, to my dad's, and it was just a horrific experience. The one thing that I did experience was when I fell on my knees and I called on Jesus, there was a peace that came over me, and and he carried me through that moment. And again, there's some more other details, and you'll read it in the book. But the point that I want to make with regards to triggers and traumas, and with me, was that I had didn't realize, I knew that it affected me because of some things that I went through after my mom passed away. I suffered a lot of anxiety and different things. There was a tremendous amount of fear of if my husband or my dad would go someplace. And I think some of you have heard this testimony, the type of anxiety and the type of fear. But I never felt like, as far as like driving, like I never had any issues with driving until I had an accident prior to this one. And I'm hoping that I may have the picture to put up, but it was like my car slid off. It hit a slick spot in the rain. It was raining that day, and my car literally slid in between a pole and a tree, and it was almost as if it was guided. Had I been maybe a half an inch over to the left or a half an inch over to the right, God knows what could have happened. But it was almost as if my car was guided. And after that experience, began to have, just thinking about my mom and thinking about, the accident, because what nobody knew, not even my husband, but for years the enemy had tormented me and made me feel like that I wasn't going to make it to my 38th birthday. And so, dealing with all of these little things, and especially with the accident. So I get past the accident. The only thing that I didn't have any problem with driving, but it was the rain. And it would, really, really cause me some anxiety. Okay, fast forward, I get through that and I'm okay. And now here we are today, and having this most recent occurrence. And, I was talking to my sister friend, Lady DD, and I said, there had been multiple, I forgot the word that I said, but it was like, attempts on my life. So I know that I have purpose. And I want to pause here, because you need to know that if you find yourself going through in the midst of a storm, and it seems like every time you turn around there is something, you're doing something right. You are doing something right. Just stand firm, stand still, and trust God. And pray, and make sure that you have a community of people around you, the right people around you, that's going to allow you to be yourself, to be honest, to be transparent, and they're going to be able to lift you as well in that. And I thank God that, I have that. So here we are now at this second accident, and I feel like that because of how bad it was, it's taken a different type of toll, right? But I'm still, trusting God in this process. Yesterday is a prime example. I saw a picture of the street where the accident happened, and it triggered me. And I didn't realize, I could literally feel it coming on. Like I could feel the anxiety coming on. And I just went and I called for my husband to just come and just hold me. And there would have been a time when I would have just tried to deal with that like by myself. But I realized that, that's not always good. And so I was able, to get that out. And it doesn't mean that I don't have faith. It doesn't mean that I don't love Jesus. It doesn't mean that, I'm not healing. It just means that I'm a person who experienced something really, really bad. And I just have to process through this. And I am a winner. I know that. And I know what to do. I know what to do. We just have to allow those moments. It's just like, me losing my mother, so tragically and so suddenly. You don't expect somebody just to get over that overnight. No, there's going to be some things, but you have to, whether it's therapy, whether it, again, your community, prayer, reading the word, meditation, making sure that you're in a safe and a good space. And that's what, I'm continuing to do. So, yesterday that was a serious trigger, but I got through it. Right, Ray? I got through it. And, it was tough, and sometimes still, tears come to my eyes, but I got through it, and I'm going to continue to get through it. Why? Because what did I say? Pain has its purpose. We just have to navigate through it, and we have to push through it and understand that there's purpose in it, and we are more than overcomers. I want to just real quick, and Raymond, how am I doing with time? Am I doing okay? Because I don't want to go too long. 21 minutes. Okay. I'm going to we're going to a few more minutes so I can rest up. One of the things that the takeaway with where the enemy tried to really mess with me with my mom was because when that morning, I called my mother and I sang happy birthday to her, and I hung up and I said, oh man, I forgot to tell mommy I loved her. But I'll tell her when she gets here. And I had it all planned out that LaRon would be on my hip holding with his little tiny hands holding the card, and we would, I would say to her, hey, I wanted to tell you that I loved you over the phone, but I felt like it would have been better to tell you face to face. And I never got that opportunity. And so, just even with this and how quick, we, and I don't know whether I talked about it before, but how quick and how fast that hit was, and how quickly it all, everything happened. I didn't even have time to say anything. All I could do was gasp for air. So I'm saying it to say, take time to tell the people around you that you love, I love you, because tomorrow is, it's really not promised. And so, and I know that my mother, knew that I loved her, and I just rest in that. So, I'm again, physically progressing, emotionally progressing, pressing into God. I have, Isaiah was so sweet yesterday. He just sat next to me and just rubbed on me and tried to, talk. But he talked to me about some funny memories, things to laugh at, and that's a beautiful thing, and I thank God, for that. And so I'm blessed, and I just want you to know that I know that all things work together for good, and I'm alive today. I am alive, and as long as I have God's breath, as long as I'm breathing His breath, I'm going to testify, I'm going to encourage, I'm going to move forward. I'm not going to allow this situation to defeat me. Sunday, I got a chance to go to church, and I was really excited about that. But he said she had a good car, but she had a greater God. Yeah, I had a good car, but I had a greater God. We have a greater God. So no matter what you're facing, no matter what you're going through, just know that you're going through what you're growing through, and all things work together for good. Nothing catches God by surprise. This situation, even what I'm processing through, I just trust Him and trust God in the process, and I know that that I'm healed. The physical just has to catch up with the spiritual. So I love you. I thank you. So week 2 plus, we're progressing. We're doing good. So yeah, let me know. If you, there was a couple of people who hit me up in my inbox. Thank you so much, and was sharing their testimony and their process and encouraging me. And so thank you so much for that. Hey, why don't you go ahead and put that in a comment, because you never know who's going to be watching. So until next week, you know what we always say: pray always, love relentlessly, and be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. And I will see you on next week. I love you so much. See you. Bye-bye.